Good evening, and welcome to another episode of Hold Please.
I said,
What I said.
Good evening, ladies. Good evening. How are y'all doing this evening?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm
I'm
doing
doing, I'm doing pretty good.
well. So, have y'all had a good week thus far?
I've had a great week. I have no complaints. None
I,
whatsoever.
I've had a very interesting week. I am listening to maybe 3 or 4 stories that not are there are not books, and I got 2 books that's in the queue and TV shows. So I'm trying to get everything done.
I get you on that. I got some stuff in the works too. So, hey, we do what we do. So, tonight's episode will be facilitated by Miss Ashley. Ashley, what we talking about tonight?
Tonight we are talking about the book Innocent Intent by Casey Mills. So I will be facilitating the conversation tonight on what you all thought about this book. But let me give the people a little synopsis of what this book was about. It says when a wife becomes the prime suspect in her husband's murder, this criminal psychologist must forget everything she thought she knew in order to clear her name in this debut psychological thriller. So right there, just reading that sounds like this is gonna be pretty intense. I mean, I don't know what y'all thought, but was it? That's my first question. Was it an intense book?
Mm, I'm gonna say a little.
Okay, right.
It was a little intense. Um, there was parts that was a little bit like, hey, hold on, what's going on? But then there was parts like, oh yeah.
Those were your responses in those parts
Hmm.
of the book.
Hmm.
Okay, all right.
I agree. I agree. Some parts were, whenever I read thrillers and I know that it's a who did it or who done it, I always have my notebook and stuff out. I'm writing down suspects, who I think did this and that, because I like to, when I figure it out, I like to know where in the story when I figured it out. So,
So you do a whole investigation in the book.
yes,
You a private investigator as you read.
I, I
I
am.
mean, I'm just trying to
And
understand.
everybody suspects from the get go. So,
Interesting, interesting. Let me find out that you got another profession out here in the streets. I'm just saying.
hey, I'm a woman, I'm a wife, I'm a mother. We always detect.
Well, okay, yeah, facts, facts, facts. All right, so because when you put thriller in something, I always like to know, were there any twists or surprises in the plot, and then how did that affect your reading experience?
I um I think that there was a few twists. The main twist happened in the beginning for me. Um, and for those of y'all who listen to us on a regular, we do have spoiler alerts, and I'm probably about to give a spoiler alert. So
Disclaimer, disclaimer. We putting it
that's
out there
a
for the people.
disclaimer right there. Um, the first twist for me was, I think, in the beginning when she ran up on her husband. Well, not necessarily ran up on her husband, followed her husband. And the twist for me was, girl, why didn't you confront him then? Like, what? What? Why
I
didn't you confront him then? But you waited. And that was the first twist. And I understand why, because this character was very well educated and had a career and this, that, and the other. I can understand why she didn't. But in the same sense, girl, go back to your roots. All right. So that was one of the twists for me.
Okay,
I
Shavana,
agree with I
you
agree with
agree?
what you said about that first part because I was like, you went all the way to You left point A and went all the way to point B and didn't say not a word, and then came all the way back to point A. And like Ray was saying, she's a she's a what was it? She's very good at her job, very good at solving cases, and but I think she was just vulnerable at that point because it was her husband. So that was a twist for me. And another twist, which was, like I said, I be detective, which I had already figured it out. But I love the way that the author wrote it to make it a twist for everybody else that didn't figure it out.
Okay. All right. I like the perspectives here. All right. So, what did you all think of Cassidy as a character? And you kind of alluded to some of that. Does she seem like someone you would trust?
I think
I
so.
think I think so. Yeah. In the beginning, I trust her. I knew she wasn't the killer, and I
Oh,
don't
okay.
know if because the author wrote it that way, or you just knew that she wasn't because of the reaction and all of that. Now, um, what I did not trust, and to this day, and maybe was the guy that she had lunch with in the opening scene. That
Mm.
was a cop, and he said, "Hey," he came out the blue and was like, "Hey, uh, how you doing? Let's, can I have lunch?" And they had having lunch, or I think it was lunch, and could have been breakfast, but
Lunch.
they having lunch, and I'm like, dude, where you just popped up out the blue, and then all of a sudden, spoiler alert, you want me to follow you to a scene? Like, hold on, what? Where is that coming from? Like, I didn't trust him.
Ah,
I
okay. Okay. Okay.
and I felt like he had some suspect tendencies.
It
All
was a
right.
suspect on my list. Because
I got a whole list out here. Okay.
just like Ray said, he popped up out of nowhere and hey, let's have lunch. Cause I felt like he wanted her. Right. I don't
Me
know.
too.
I felt
I
like
did.
and this character name was, I wrote him down. It was Greg Harper. And I just felt like he wanted her because
Mm-hmm.
the conversation that they had was like, wow, I heard you got married. It's like he
Mm-hmm.
didn't kind of believe it and he was kind of upset about it, but yeah. And then like Ray said, then he gets this call to go on this he got a case. Won't you ride with me? What
Mm.
you want me to ride with you for? We ain't partners no more. I don't do that no more. What I
Yeah,
need
like,
to know for? That's why I felt like he he was a big suspect at first.
Wow. Okay. All right. So you had suspects on the list, and Ray
I,
said he popped up
I,
out the blue, and like, what's that? What's that about? Okay, I'm just saying. Um. So why do you think that Cassidy didn't notice the lies about her husband's identity?
yo, he played that well. Um,
I mean, so you feel like you would have been tricked? I mean, like me, help me understand.
he, he played it well to find out everything that he did play it well to her, and which is surprising that she didn't pick up on the cues, because of her profession. She basically was able to read a crime scene and know what what who did what. She was like a who done it, a doctor for who done it. She was forensic, right? So you really did let your guard down when it came to this man, and come to find out, he got fake friends and he's just using you for everything. But he played that well. The author wrote it up where he played it well.
It did.
Okay. Okay.
I felt like she was so in love and so in love with being in love and being married. I can't remember exactly how long they were married. It might have been 6 or 7 years. It might not have been that long. I can't remember exactly how long they were married. But I think she
Seems
kind of
like 5 sticking out to me.
what you say, right?
I said it seems like 5 is sticking out to me, but it might have been neighbors together for 6 or 7 and married for so many.
It might have been. But I just felt like she overlooked those cues because after you read it and she sat there and thought about it, they were always there. Those cues were there. She just missed it. And like Ray said, he had fake friends. He had people coming to dinner and stuff that were paid people. Like they were fake.
Oh, he went all out. Like
He did.
to hide his
Yeah,
identity for real. Like he had a bunch of people in a bunch of places.
right. And just like
Mhm.
Ray said, her profession, she wrote books on how to catch people and do this and that for her to get duped the way she did.
Dang. That's kind of heartbreaking. I mean, it should be food, and that's your profession. That's a little
Right.
much, don't y'all think? I mean, I'm just asking. I'm just saying. Okay, all right, but I don't know. So this is more of a personal question. I think right here is how would you feel if someone you loved turned out to have a secret life?
I would be devastated.
Mhm.
I would be truly devastated. And
Mhm.
even though she was accused of murder, I probably would have murdered.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Personally, I think, like Shavonna said, I'll be devastated because a lot of people probably don't believe it, but it'd be little stuff that I see people for what they are, right? It ain't
Mm-hmm.
until they show me something different, right?
Mm-hmm.
To be in a situation where I'm married to a man and to come to find out that you have a whole nother life and a whole nother identity to the point where they had to dig to figure out who he really was, right? So once you tell me that they had to dig to figure out who he really was, like he was so far, so many different names by the time he got to her that they had to go and find out. Like I would be devastated. And I think I would have to question myself, how are you so gullible, right? And what made me think this is it? You know what I'm saying? I'm falling in love with this man that come to find out had been doing this for years. And just that would even affect my future, right? Yes, this character moved on kind of quickly, but it is fiction. Um, but it would affect your long term. You affect, you know, is this guy that I'm dating now? Is he really who he say he is? Do he have a
Mm-hmm.
whole other family? Does he this? Does he that? So yeah, it would be very devastating, life changing, even depression. I say depression because depression falls on people quickly, right? So you would go into this rabbit hole saying, what, how come this, that, and the other? Because she was rich, right? And he was taking money off the top.
Oh,
And
so she was getting used to like.
he
Big
was a
time.
So I mean, literally, this is like undercover operation. Like he was bona fide top notch criminal here.
so not only, and it's to the point where the money he was taking wasn't even money that anybody knew about. It was
Mm-hmm.
money that she had put in a whole nother account. Like she had an account that I'm gonna say he was aware of, but she had like another account that nobody was supposedly aware of. That's where he was taking the money from. He was taking
Mm-hmm.
a whole nother account,
Mm-hmm.
and she never checked the bank stubs. So with her never checking the bank stubs, she didn't say, she was like, no, he wouldn't have touched that because he don't know nothing about it. I don't even check the bank stubs. And come to find out, the bank stubs was correct, and he had been taking money from her. So, that's a whole lot to know that you taking money from, I think her grandmother or her adopted mother or somebody. You taking money from not me, but somebody I care deeply who left me everything she got. It was devastating,
And I think
heartbreaking.
the only person I think that knew about that account was her assistant.
Okay.
Yeah. Her assistant knew about that account. So
Mm.
um
So I understand that in this book, Innocent Intent, there was a detective. So why might the detective, Nathaniel Davis is his name, be so determined to expose Cassidy's past? Why do y'all feel like he was so determined to expose her past?
because he thought she did it. He truly believed she did it. And that she was so good at her job that she knew how to cover it up. Well, he thought she knew how to cover up what she had done. He truly
Yeah.
believed it.
He had a struggle, right? And his struggle was first, the whole he had to combat the whole department, right? Because she was known,
Mhm.
and she was known not only by the captain but by the chief, right? And all of the detectives. So he had to tell them, "Hey, I'm not just because he was a new detective to the team. I'm not just gonna fall in line and believe everything she say because I know her or because y'all know her." So he he had a lot to get past in order to get where he finally found, the ending. But yeah, he didn't trust her, and rightly so, because if I go out and say, hey, if somebody go out and say, hey, Miss 502 did something, me and Shavana is gonna say, oh no, not her.
Right.
Got to be a third party to come in and say, no, I don't know it like that.
Yeah, you barking up the wrong tree. You following the wrong track.
Yeah,
Right,
That's
right.
not in her character. That's not in her.
yeah, no, no,
And
she
that's
wouldn't.
what and that's how everybody was defending her.
Right.
So she did have some people in her corner really defending her and saying she didn't do it. And he was just like, look, I ain't about to be what y'all say just because y'all say it and because y'all know her and y'all saying it. But I think that's interesting too, because TV and stuff, because I'm a little more of a TV buff. They always say the prime suspect
The
is
wife.
the spouse,
That's
or
Mhm.
husband or wife,
yeah.
is spouse or whatever. So naturally, to me, it makes sense. Having not read the book, but it makes sense that she would be a suspect. Tell me, but I'm again TV buff, right? So that's usually always that's who they're gonna look to first.
Right.
But it is good to see that they had some people that had her back, though. That y'all are telling me that there were some people in there that was like, nah, she couldn't have done this.
And one of them was that first detective that we had on the suspect list.
Mhm.
Oh, really?
He was dead in her corner up into
Mhm.
up into a certain point.
Up until a certain point, okay.
He was in her corner. And so spoiler, I think by her following him in the beginning
Uh huh.
where the spot where he was found dead,
Mm-hmm.
I think the author kind of wanted us to think that she had done it too
Mhm.
Okay.
because she was there. But then it did say that she had left, but in between that time, I guess, could have put in our minds, oh, she could have killed him right before she left. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Right. Gotcha. Okay. So let me ask y'all about the actual killer. Again, I guess spoiler alert here. Oh, were y'all surprised by who the killer was? Being Tia. I mean,
Because I had not figured it out.
so so
Right.
you
When I
had it
And
in
talked
your
to,
sticky
and when
notes
I
in the
talked
book
to
of where
Ray,
you had your list written
I
out of
li-
who.
yes, I had not figured it out. And when
Okay.
I talked to Ray and I asked Ray before Ray had finished reading the book, she had said it too, but she had kind of weaned away from it. Like, so she had figured it out, but she had left it. Evidently,
Okay.
she read something that convinced her that it was somebody else and not her.
Oh, okay. So it was a thought, right? And then you just kind of set it over there on the shelf. Like, let me
yeah,
let me keep reading to figure out if there's some other people in this situation that could have been
yeah.
the killer.
So she played her role, she played her role as an assistant real good. But there was parts of me that the reason why I thought it was her, it didn't really not on she was a suspect because I didn't know who she really was, right?
Mm-hmm.
Once we found out who she really was, I was like, oh no, this chick did everything. Um, she seemed like a bird, you know what I'm saying, towards the end. But I didn't I triggered on her because she was so close, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's almost kind of like she knew everything. Well, she did. She was the assistant. So she knew everything. The only thing that she didn't allude to knowing was the fact that he had another identity, right? And
Mm-hmm.
she didn't allude to the fact, spoiler alert, she was sleeping with him, right? She never even made it seem like she was sleeping with him. She just made it seem like, oh, that's your husband, and this, that, and the other. Like she was a very convincing psychopath.
What? We done put psychopath on the list. Okay, so she was a psychopath. I mean,
When you think so, Shavana?
She was. She was. Because she had been following, she inserted, spoiler, she inserted her life, she inserted herself in this woman's life because of when she was younger. Ain't that right? Yeah,
Yeah, that's right.
she was younger.
what you mean when she was younger?
So she had met, spoiler, 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 spoiler.
Oh yeah, because I haven't read this book, so
Yeah. So
I'm
this
intrigued here.
big spoiler. So, like we said, Cassidy was a detective
Right.
before she became, I forgot what she became. More like a FBI profiler or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. Not
See,
100%.
that's I like that type of stuff. That's stuff you see on
Yeah.
TV. Okay, go ahead.
So that's basically what she was. And now I hope I'm correct. I did read this a little while ago, but I think
Mm-hmm.
she put the girl's father in
Mhm.
jail. She put the girl's father in jail and
Ah, so
told the
she was
girl,
out on some revenge type stuff.
yeah,
Correct.
Okay,
because she
okay.
told her that everything was gonna be all right, and it wasn't all right. So she was kind of out for revenge. So she inserted herself in her life as her assistant, sleeping with her husband, spoiler, 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 stealing her money.
Hmm.
It was all that. But go ahead. I'm gonna let you finish your question. We got to get into one more thing before we wrap this up. So let's see if your question.
Well, I mean, right now I'm just gonna tell you, y'all making Cassie look real bad because Cassie done got duped by two people. Like what?
True.
I didn't
Yeah.
know that Tia was I didn't know that Tia was her assistant. This is what it sounds like y'all telling me right here in this pod
Mhm.
right here. So Tia is the assistant, and the husband then lied to her for all these years. 5 years is what y'all told me. 5 years, and then this assistant, how long she worked for? I mean, so Cassidy then got framed,
So true. He
huh?
was. I can't remember who married who came first, but both of them were in her life for some years. Because
Yeah.
Tia was a young girl, and then she graduated. I think she got adopted and graduated and changed her name. Once she changed her name, she started working. And I might be a little fuzzy too. I just read it, but that don't mean nothing, you know. Once
But
she changed her name, I think she went immediately working for, maybe not immediately, maybe she went to a little college.
mm,
No, she wanted to be a singer. Am I getting this right? She
all right,
wanted to
because now you sound like you. What if you mix in another story? I don't want you to mix another
no, I think she
story.
I got so much going on in this head. If I make no mistake, she wanted to be she was wanting to, she had like ambitions of being in a Hollywood, like a singer or something like that. But she ended up getting assaulted while being in it,
Oh,
and that's when she came to Cassidy. And I
Okay.
think that's one of the reasons why Cassidy was so gullible about her. And she paid her really well, by the way.
Mm.
Because she had a lifestyle that she kept on. Where Cassidy was maybe more me and you, well, us three, jeans, t-shirt type shit. She was
Mm-hmm.
bougie type shit. She had to have the heels, the outfits, and everything.
Okay. Mm. Okay. All right. So, well, Siobhan, you said we got to discuss one more thing, and I'm not sure what that one more thing is. So I'm gonna let you tell this part, and then I'm gonna ask another question. But go ahead and in the part that you feel like y'all got to discuss, that you feel like it's on you, you got to get it out. So I want you to get, I want you to get it out.
So while they're um basically trying to figure out who killed her husband and
Mm-hmm.
try to set herself free, because they actually think she did it.
Mm-hmm.
Spoiler, why she start sleeping with the detective? The
Wait,
one,
wait, wait,
the
what?
one that just knew she did it.
Hold on, wait. You done lost me. You done lost me. You done lost me. So who's messing around with who now?
This
Cassidy starts
time,
starts sleeping with the guy that is investigating
Nate,
her.
Nathaniel.
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 So Cassidy and Nathaniel start butting a romance. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
Mhm.
So so she done fell in love with somebody who's trying to accuse her.
That's why Ray said she fell. It was soon. She fell soon.
And here's the something that kind of tricked me up. So they went to New York. Spoiler. We might as well just tell the whole book.
Right.
uh,
Lord.
they went to New York and did what they had to do up in New York, and became a little bit more friendlier in New York. They come back home. And immediately when they come back home, the captain's down his throat, right? He drops her off at the door and he's like, I gotta go and go to the station and blah, 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 blah. He drops her off at the door. Before he can get to the car, good, the captain calls him and says, ballistics and this, that, and the other, and gun and blah, 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 blah. Right? He goes and has to arrest her. So
Mm.
you might as well say he went from the bed, she went from his bed to his jail cell
Yes, sir.
Talk
within
about complicated.
within 24 hours, and that flipped him because he's like, hold on, I thought you was innocent, and now to come to find out you got some stuff in the background that you didn't tell me about.
Oh, so that goes back to my question about her past.
Well,
Right.
yeah, it goes back to her past, because she had learned. I mean, dude, we done already told everything else. Actually, if you wanted to read it, there's no reason to read it.
I mean, at this point, no. I mean, in my head, it's
But
playing it like a movie, to be
it's
honest. But okay,
you still read it.
You still
I
could.
might read it, but I ain't gonna make no
Everybody
promises. But all right.
else out there, please go and read the book. The book is really good,
Very
um,
yes.
even though we pretty much telling you everything. So ain't telling you everything, but yeah, we did. Uh, but like I said, it was stuff in her past that came back up, and he found out, and he's kind of like, what in the world did I just do? And at this point, nobody knows that, because they went to New York and came back. She didn't fly with him. Well, she flew with him, but she's got money, so she bought her own ticket, where he took it and went off his cop um
Salary or cop
yeah,
The
money that
department.
he
Yeah.
uses for travel. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
So so she so nobody really could have known that she went with him, but she went from his bed to his jail cell. That's what got me, like within a 24-hour span. So
And she found out some stuff about him in New York also.
Mm. So
he
all
did.
their secrets just getting revealed. Is that what y'all tell me in this
Mhm.
budding romance that they have? And he
Yeah.
thinking she guilty and then thinking she innocent and thinking she guilty again is what it sounds like to me. Oh, interesting. All right. Okay. Sounds like y'all was on a roller coaster a little bit in this book to me. So
There was a twist.
there's some twists in there. Twists and turns, it sounds like. It was a lot going on. Like some drama too, really. You ask me. All right. Was the ending satisfying to you all? And
me,
how did it make you feel? And how did it make you feel?
I guess I'm gonna say yes, it was satisfying, even though I had already figured it out. But the way that it unfolded, the way she, unfolded it and everything that happened, I was pleased. So, yeah.
Okay, so you figured it out, but you didn't, the way that it was unfolded was unique, is what it sounds like I hear you say.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
to know who had done it, but for you to try to tell, give us the background of why she did it. So,
I got you. Okay.
Yeah, and that's what I was just about to say. It's so very rare that in the books, maybe on TV shows, but on books, you don't get the why, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you was able to get the why, right? And you was able to eventually find out who the husband really was, and you was able to find out, they even at one point went to the jailhouse to talk to the dad. So the dad got closure too. So it was, to me, the ending was good. Um, it gave me the why. I always want to know the why or the who, or why would you do that? So
Okay. All right. And so your overall rating was what?
I gave it a 4.
Okay.
I gave it a 4 as well. I do believe. I have to go back and check, but I think it was a 4.
Okay. That's a pretty high rating. So for all of you listeners out there, go and listen to or read Innocent Intent by Casey Mills. To me, it sounds like Ray and Shavonna had a good time reading it, honestly. Investigating, Shavonna was on her detective work, and, Ray was like, wow. Literally, I could hear Ray saying, why would you do that? So I feel like during the book, she was saying, why would you do that? Right. So if you have those type of responses, I would say that's a pretty good book. When it gets you to respond in certain ways, get some type of reaction out of you, I would say that that's a pretty good book. So I encourage all the listeners out there tonight to definitely take a moment and listen to or read Innocent Intent by Casey Mills. And of course, continue to listen to I Said What I Said podcast with Ray, Shavonna, and myself. We look forward to having you listen to us again. Have a wonderful and great night.
Good night.
Good night, y'all.